Okay, and we're live. Welcome to an MG Saturday Rogue broadcast with special guest, Mr. Zan Perrion. Welcome. Now, Zan is a world traveler, an author of The Alabaster Girl, which we'll be talking about. As you can see, this is very well read. He's also a lover and seducer of women and a seeker of beauty in all things. So welcome, Zan.
Wow, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Same here. I guess two things I want to say to kind of set the stage. I want to make sure we talk about, obviously, your book, anything geek, obviously, as well. But the man's masculine edge. And I had one more thing, and it just left my head because I'm getting old, and that's what happens when you're old. So it'll come back to me. But I want to make sure we talk about those things. But to start off, in as much or little detail as you want, I want to hear your Batman origin story. Like, how did you get to where you are now? Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll say it in as concisely as I can. I mean, it's kind of out there, but so I don't want to overload it. But I was basically raised in northwestern Canada, northern British Columbia, in essence. And my formal education ended in the traditional, accredited system ended at 13 years old. Left home at 13, and I have no formal high school or anything. I don't have any that kind of normal education since that time. So, and I lived basically in the wilderness, but I came out of the wilderness when I'm 18 years old because there's no girls there. And I started, wait a minute. And so I came out without a proper education and didn't go to college, didn't go to university, any of that kind of stuff. And without any concept that a very, very strong poverty mentality because we lived in the forest basically. And my mother raised us kids, by herself. And so I came out of there with a real drive a real insecurity and a real sense that I was unlovable and unworthy because everybody else had, nice things and was raised in a house with carpet and, all this kind of stuff. And so I had this really strong feeling that I wasn't good enough. And I was the quintessential nice guy. I didn't go to high school or college or university where you learn social dynamic and social graces and who's the geeks and who's the jocks. I didn't, my social education came from movies. And by that, I mean, what movies portray, love, situations, romantic comedies, which we know are not real life at all.
Exactly.
And,
yeah.
And the nice guy gets the girl in the end, when Harry met Sally. So I was the quintessential nice guy. I was available. I was hat in hand, poetry writing, falling in love, and I was just massively rejected on all fronts. But so my Batman story is basically, one day I said to myself, because I really wanted it. I loved girls. I've been girl crazy since I was a little boy. Hey, I like the guy, the cat.
That's Rob meets Zan. Zan meet Rob, and Rob and his pussy.
That's right.
I like it. Oh, that's a great cat, man. Wow.
Thank you. He's a Maine Coon.
I'm not sure who's holding who.
Exactly. I don't know if I'm holding him or if he's actually holding me.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry I'm late, guys. I got caught up in some shit.
No, that's all right. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, that happens. So anyway, so I was just saying that I was girl crazy since I was forever. And I was so needy and insecure and available and sucky that women would, a girl would maybe go on a date with me if I got up my nerve to ask her to go on a date. And the second date, third date, forget it. She's like, I'm out of here. This guy's such a wet, damp cloth of an energy, So, and I used to be, I was so alone and lonely. And I said, I want to figure this out. And I remember one time having this thought, every woman out there is having is fantasizing about somebody. When she's laying in her bed and she's lonely, waiting for the phone to ring, perhaps she's thinking about somebody. When she's having sensual or sexual thoughts, she's fantasizing about some guy. And I thought, has it ever been you? You look in the mirror. Has it ever been you? Is there a woman out there right now, somewhere in the world, who's thinking about you and wishing you were there with her in her bed or something? If not, why not? And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I read Casanova's memoirs when I was a kid. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to sort this out. And I embarked on a journey. And I just did my 10,000 hours, you know? Back then, I mean, I'm older than you guys. And there was no internet. Well, there was internet, but there was none of this kind of conversation, no YouTube or anything like that. And there was nobody out there as a dating coach. That's a new thing that's kind of just been plopped into the world even since 2000 or 2002 or something like that. And so I went out by myself into bars, lounges, situations, shopping malls, and just stood trying to look cool. Cause I thought you had to be aloof. And so I would stand there till the lights came on in a bar by myself, leaning over I didn't drink. So I would just lean like this, drinking a coffee until the lights came on. Too afraid to approach. And I did that for 2 decades.
Oh, wow.
4 nights a week, at least. I never quit. And somebody asked me recently, man, Zan, you did all that. Did you ever get, and I'd go home alone and so rejected and wonder what I'm doing, but I wanted to watch it, wanted to figure it out. Somebody asked me recently, did you ever get discouraged and feel like quitting? And it never occurred to me. Never once. I said, okay. I would go there and I'd stand and I'd watch the dynamic of the flow. Here's a man straightening his tie, going to go talk to the girl over there. And I would watch it. I would watch what's going on and watch the dynamic and the ebb and flow. And so I just became this real observer, I guess, until I think I'm the best one that I've ever known in social situations, for sure. I always know what's going on. Always.
Well, and it's funny. I literally, whatever you want to call it, divine providence, inspiration, whatever, timing, me coming in right when I did. I have to say, Zan, I'm going to pimp your book out a little bit here with the Alabaster Girl. Okay. Because when you mentioned about she's fantasizing about someone, why not you? Yeah. That was the aha moment for me.
Wow.
That literally was the moment where I was like, well, yeah, because they do, just like guys fantasize. We all do it. We all do it. But I never had put myself into being that fantasy. It just never clicked that.
Never occurred to you.
Yeah, it never occurred that I'd be that woman's fantasy or that I had been. It just never clicked. And then when I read that, I was like, holy shit.
Like, damn.
And that's where now when I do stuff, that's like at the forefront of my mind is I'm going to be her fantasy. Whether I get her or not is irrelevant. That's right. But I'm going to be her fantasy. She's going to remember me, even if it's only for 10 minutes as she's flicking the bean. It's the idea that she's going to remember me. So, Zan, thank you. Because that
appreciate
was huge for me. That was huge.
I appreciate that. We've always, anybody who's listening to this can relate to what I'm about to say. There's been a moment in your life when somebody came into your life, a girl perhaps, maybe for 5 minutes, that you just thought, man, that was an angel. What a beauty, just and disappeared or gone or whatever, right? Or maybe she's in your life for a month or something. And you always remember that encounter with her and that encounter with beauty and think, wow, there's women out there like that, and it makes you feel, this is why it makes a man stop in his tracks, because that's such a profound sense of beauty. So here's the question. Everybody can relate to this, and everybody can think of a moment in their time when they had that. So has it ever been you being that moment for a woman that 20 years later, she remembers that time, that guy, I can't remember his name, but he just came in and I'll never forget him. Has it ever been you?
Impression. Yeah.
That's incredible when you think about it, And if not, why not?
Why not? Yeah. Why not? If we as guys can fantasize about any random woman that we've seen in a picture or in a movie or a video clip or walking down the street, or she's the cashier, the barista at Starbucks. And you could go, "Oh, wow. Why can't we be that for them?"
That's correct.
Why not?
Even in that moment too, that
Yeah.
brief moment that she's ringing up your shit,
Right.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
if it's, it's not that you even, seduced her and took her home. It's the idea that you made her day where she'll remember that later. I had an
Correct.
incident like that a little while ago where in my day-to-day work, I shred paper, like 300-pound garbage cans of paper. And some of these places, you don't have an elevator, so you have to bring it down in bags, these
Oh,
big
crap.
kind of canvas bags. I remember because I was just fucking around basically, but there was a woman walking ahead of me down the stairs, and I've got like these 3 bags of paper that I'm dragging behind me. They weigh more than I do. And we hit the stairs, and of course, they're thumping all the way down the stairs. It's louder than hell. She sees it, and she kind of freaks out and starts squealing, and she's running down the stairs. Well, I start chasing her with these bags of paper, chasing her down the stairs. And she's just, and yet she was laughing by the time she hit the bottom of the stairs, and I'm laughing. And I thought about it later, and I had a coworker there that he observed it. He was behind me. He watched the whole thing go down, and he's like, she's going to remember that
Of
for
course.
quite a while.
Yeah, that's a memorable moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So why not you?
Yeah. And you didn't expect anything from that interaction.
No,
It just let it happen. Yeah.
It's just like, I'm going to chase this woman down the stairs because that's fun.
Exactly.
It's like playing, like kids.
Yeah.
Like it's not an exchange. It's just taking joy in each other's presence for whatever reason that you can find an excuse for.
Yeah, there's no ulterior motive. There's no agenda. It's just, I'm going to do this. Why not? And it ties back into what Zan said. If not you, why not you?
Why not you? Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why sell yourself short? Be the fantasy. What the hell? What's it going to do? It's not going to hurt anything. If anything, it might actually improve your odds. So,
yeah. So I continued that path, guys. My 20s was I was so insecure and so lost. Like seriously, I was really alone and trying to figure it out. And my 30s, I started to get, wait a minute. This girl just said this to me, and I've heard that 100 times before, and I think it means something else. So I started to get this kind of like, wait a minute, some light bulb moments. And then in my 40s, I wrote about it. And it took me 10 years to write The Alabaster Girl, as I was traveling. Yeah, 10 years, almost birthday to birthday.
wow.
And so I tried to capture it, and it's interesting because, talk about gaming, my goal, I was traveling with a little tiny, laptop, just good enough to write on and, do emails and stuff on. And I was traveling with that laptop, and I said, man, when I publish this book, I'm going to celebrate so much. My celebration is I'm going to go buy the biggest, screamingest gaming machine I can find. And I'm going to play computer games for a year and straight. And that's it. Because I missed it. I'm a gamer from back in the day. But when you're traveling for 10 years with a little carry-on bag,
it's difficult. Yeah.
It's difficult. Yeah. Never forget that. But I didn't have that celebration when it's strange when the book was done, like there's a World Cup celebration where you rah, you champion or whatever, or you climb Everest. And it's like, when I put the book out, the day I published it and put it out there, it was like, it was just dead air for me. It's like something's put away. Something was taken out of my system. And that I didn't expect it, So I accomplished what I set out to do, and I was very pleased with it, but it felt like that time in my life was put aside in that moment. It was strange. And I've heard this for people. I've heard for people that they go into Everest, they plan for a year and they spend all that money and they get up to the top and it's like, they're like, ooh, and then they look around and say, okay,
this is it.
That's it. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah. So interesting.
Okay. That's funny. Now you mentioned, and we talked briefly before the broadcast went live, and you just mentioned it now that you're a gamer and you're also interested in tabletop games too.
Oh, and I never really got to play them. Like you play Risk when you're a kid, right? Which is the entry point to for most people, right? Risk and that kind of thing. And I just, Access Now, I played a few times, and I just adore that kind of complicated maneuvering type of thing. I just really like it a lot, you know. And because I was so nomadic all these years, it's, I mean, you got to set up a regular. Well, I just didn't get to do it a lot. And I would, if there were people around me doing that where I am now, I would do it. I would like go once a week, and I miss it, you know.
Yeah. Well,
you'd be surprised where they're at. Is the thing. Like I'm working on a tabletop project. One of my writers lives in Saudi Arabia, and she has informed me that there's like this huge tabletop community there. Like basically,
wow.
If it has connection to the internet, if it is in a location that has internet, there are people nearby who are ready to play.
I could find it. That's correct.
Yeah.
I've played all of the Euro games, like the Catan ones and all those, the Wonder games, whatever they are, right? I played all those games and I adore them, and I like it, and I can't get enough. We first got Settlers of Catan. I remember I was in Canada and never heard of it, but I looked on boardgamegeek.com and I said, okay, what's the number one? And that was number one at the time. So I went and bought it, and we sitting there trying to figure out the instructions and learn it with me and three other guys. We're like, and we started to play that evening. We finally got one game in, another game. We played all night, all day, all night again until the next morning.
Oh shit!
Without one break.
That's awesome.
Until we're like at the end, we're like falling asleep. We're just this is incredible.
That's so much fun.
Yeah, I have it in my blood, boys. Believe me.
Nice. Well, I'll have to get a masculine geek trip out to where you're at, and just we were talking about playing. TJ and I went out to Kansas City, met up with some people, and we played Blood Red Skies, the tabletop, the World War II aircraft game. So
wow. I've never heard of it, but I'm excited already.
It's good. I'll have to send you links. Yeah. So let's get back to the Alabaster Girl.
Okay.
This copy I purchased before you had it on Amazon back in, I think, 2015 from your website. And this is, as you can see, it's dog-eared. It's got all the Post-it notes and whatnot.
Highlights.
The highlights, yeah. If you don't mind me reading one passage, is that okay, Zan?
Sure. All
right. This stuck out for me. I think it's an issue, if not all, most men have. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong.
And while you're looking for it real quick, Vince, one thing I also want to say in kind of an admiration for what Zan has done with this book, besides that passage about, she's going to fantasize about someone, why not you? I know Zan loves women. I get that. But he also likes them.
That's correct.
And there's a big difference because I've met a lot of guys who claim to love women, but really they don't like them. And it's like
true. Yeah. You need both.
But you do. If you really want to be successful with women, whether you want short-term, medium-term, long-term, marriage, whatever it is you want, you have to genuinely like them.
Great observation.
And reading Alabaster Girl, I was like, oh my God, not only is he, a self-proclaimed lover of women, he genuinely likes them. And that is rare in my experience. That is like most guys I've realized it's like, you may love them, but do you really even like them? And Zan, I can say, yeah, Zan does. Zan likes women. So kudos.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Stuff, man. Anyway, Vince, proceed.
Okay. I marked it down. I made notes. This is on page 188 and flows into 189, but it's short. Okay. 150 years ago, Thoreau wrote, "The mass of men live lives of quiet desperation. This is as true today as it was back then. How many men stand on a balcony and wonder what happened? How many men cast blame? Why has the world not provided a man with what he wanted? He wanted adventure, and he got 2 weeks vacation. He wanted a mission, and he got a lawn that needs mowing. He wanted a purpose, and he got a cubicle. He wanted a mighty steed, and he got a minivan. He wanted a castle, and he got a mortgage. He wanted a battle to fight, and he got televised sports. He wanted wisdom, and he got talking heads on TV. He wanted treasure, and he got endless debt. He wanted every part of his life to be wonderful, and here he is, standing on a balcony in bleak, ruminating hesitation." That always stood out for me.
Wow. Yeah.
It always stood out for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something, you know.
Yep. And it's
truth. It's like we when you're a little boy, you know, and you have this joyous anticipation, and you're dreaming of the future and all those things you wanted, that you daydreamed out the school window, you know, and the teachers, you know, pay attention. You're daydreaming. You're climbing mountains and crossing rivers and exploring and treasure hunting in your mind. And man, that's slapped out of us, you know, little by little as we get older, and you know, the realities of life. We wanted all these things, and the real joy of it. You know, we had a real joy in wanting those things, and now we have to be responsible. And now you know, you have to. It's something's missing. We've forgotten how to have fun. You know, I said it before. We were little boys playing with our toys then, and we're little boys playing with our toys now. The difference is we don't have fun anymore.
Hey, we're not having fun. Yeah.
And they cost a lot more than.
So something's missing, you know, that sense of fun, and we've forgotten how to have fun. And I'm the biggest advocate for it. There's a curiosity that when you have that, it's a wondrous curiosity that takes you forward, and you're curious about things, and there's a fun, joyous, lighthearted element in it that we've forgotten, for sure.
Yeah. That always stood out, because I think a lot of boys when they're growing up, they do want that. They want that adventure. They want to be the Indiana Jones and whatnot when they're young, and they see themselves in some shape or form doing something related to that into their adulthood. And like you said, it's slowly as you get older, it's almost beaten out of us.
You know, and I can say this, which is completely against the mainstream thought. I don't think you've probably never heard this before, and it's definitely not politically correct. But the idea, you know, that this modern idea that fathers and mothers, like the children grow up and they need their father. We all know this, right? They need their father. But we've converted that need of the father to the father should be home. But you know what has always been in every culture, in every drop of history, you never hear this anywhere. I've never heard anybody say this before. The father has to be looked at as a mythic hero that goes and comes back bearing gifts for the children. In other words, the little boy needs to miss his father and want to be like him. He's going and fighting a battle, or he's fighting the saber-toothed tigers or whatever, or he's out in battle, or he's on a mission to try and gather something, you know, and he comes back with his arms full of gifts for the children. And the boy says, that's my hero. I want to be like him. And so this idea, this modern idea, which, you know, is that the father should be home every night and be, you know, and we think it sounds good, right? The father's there, because we have this concept of absent fathers, you know, that's a bad thing. But not absent as in neglect, but absent as I'm out there and I'm doing this for you. I'm coming back and look what I have. I'm bearing gifts. That boy will want to aspire to be like that mythic hero of his father, and that's what we're missing.
The temporary absence is what invokes the child's imagination.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Exactly. Then that little boy is dreaming. His father's gone for 3-4 days. He's daydreaming about, I want to do that too. I want to be this. I want to go. You know, the natives get on horseback and they're in a war party and they're gone for days. And the little boys are sitting in the camp like, I want to go too. And they come back and they celebrate and they joy. And you know what's politically incorrect about it is women will say, well, that's unfair because we're stuck with all the burden and the kids are whining around and we have to deal with it all. And yeah, that's correct. That's true. That's, you know, the children need to revere their father. So that's how I see it, man.
You also mentioned too, and you've talked about this, is the concept of initiation for men.
Right. The vision quest.
Yeah.
You know, in every culture, loosely speaking, but there's this initiation. There's in every culture in history, I don't care what country it's been, or, you know, there's always been a passage from boys to men. Always. There's been a traditional, you know, here's your boy here, and you go through this transition, and now you can stand with the men. The vision quest is the one I use. You know, the natives would tell the little boy, listen, go into the wind, stand, you know, go into the wilderness, stand in the wind and speak your name. Go find your totem animal. And when you and the boy would go out naked, afraid, anticipation, excited, and go out by himself. Okay, and he'd come back days later, and the men would say, "Okay, now you stand with the men." We've never in history had the concept of the teenager until about 1950. Nobody knows that. In fact, the word teenager didn't exist in the English language till about 1950. Can you imagine that? We invented an entire demographic because there was always boys and men.
And the men. Yeah.
That's it.
There was no transitional period. It was you're a boy and now you're a man.
That's right. And you went through that death to self. The Bible says, when I was a child, I spake as a child, and when I became a man, I put away childish things. There's a passage and we've lost that initiation for men. Girls have it automatically because they get their period. And there's a demarcation, and they go, oh, now they're afraid, and they run to mom, and mom says, okay, here's what you do, if the mother's, there and present. So now they have that
basically, though. Yeah.
They have that demarcation where the boys are just, playing with your wiener when you're a little boy, and you're playing with it when you're older. Nothing changed. We never had, we never had a transition. So that's why women are dating boys. I could go on and on.
No, that's perfect. This is the perfect venue for that. And I guess it sort of dovetails into a man's masculine edge too. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. I mean, like, we are so afraid in this modern age, and this is such a sin that's perpetrated on men. This toxicity of you hear like Tiger Woods has, a sex addict. What the heck? That this is our natural impulse where we have a driving, thrusting nature. And so, but no, that's bad. It's bad. And so it's toxic. And men today are looked at as, if one step away from being a rapist. We'd all be rapists if you're given the chance, you men. Or you're walking past if you're walking a little too slow past a playground, oh, come on. You're a pedophile. It's wrong. It's a sin. And society's doing that. And we're crusaders against it. In other words, reclaiming the beauty of the divine, God-given desire to bend the world over. That's it. And I'm speaking to my young self, believe me, because I was hiding my sexual energy, and I was trying to be the nice guy, and eyes front, and it's wrong. It's wrong, and it's perpetrated on men, and it's why we have this broken, really aggressive society today. Because you put away all the great joy and curiosity of being men, and so what you're left with is aggressive. Politics is aggressive. The relationships are like this aggressive, and even women are aggressive. Everything's gone masculine with the darkness of masculinity without the beauty of masculinity to balance it out. So, yeah.
No, that is so true, and it's interesting. And Rob and I have talked about this before. What you're describing and talking about is what's happening in the media. What's happening, like professionally, like what's happening out there as far as like commercialism. But if you talk or interact with the everyday people, they're not like that. They're not like that.
They're quiet.
Yeah,
they don't want to say anything, right?
Exactly.
So, the world is broken, guys. But there's I was on a sex radio show one time. This woman in Montreal had this 20 years. She did this radio show, and she would interview about sex and topics like that. And she said to me, you know what, Zan? I asked all my guests this: what do you think about pornography and what it's done to our society today? And I'm like, I have no response to that, because I'm completely fully aware that pornography and the pervasiveness of pornogaphy has some impact on our sense of intimacy, our body culture, the way we relate. I get that it's certainly having an impact, but there's enough voices out there talking about it. They don't need my view on society. That's why you'll never hear me talk about feminism, about pornography, about any of these social issues, because there's so many voices and talking heads out there. So the whole point of what I've been trying to do all these years with Ars Amorata, with my book and everything, is let's take an end run around all of that social screeching and head towards what is a beautiful life? What is a life of relevance? What is a life that is imbued with fun? And how can we, so you take a run around it, because you can wade into, feminism did this, and men going their own way, and pornography, and there's no way out. It's this quagmire, and it can completely become your whole career.
Argument. Yeah.
Imagine it's your whole career talking about these issues. No, run around it, guys. No time to waste in that nonsense.
As it produces guys who complain. You first.
I was just gonna say, you can't. It's that outrage. It's red meat. It's shit that you rail against that you have no control over. Correct. You're not going to change it. You're not going to change the outcome of it. You literally have no say in it, that no matter how you feel about it, good, bad, right, or wrong, doesn't make a difference. So why bother? Why bother?
Yeah, but it's not defeatist. It's not giving up. It's saying, let's go around it. Just have a better conversation.
Yeah, just do something else.
If they stay mired in it, it produces these guys who can explain to you all the statistics of why X, Y, Z is bad for society writ large, but they're still afraid to speak in a deep voice at home. They're still afraid to sleep with two different.
Afraid of their own shadows.
Yeah, exactly.
And evolutionary biology, and there's a lot of conversation, and none of it is productive, as far as I'm concerned.
Other than just producing the obvious that, well, this equals that. It's like, well, yeah, but how does that help me have a better life?
That's correct.
It's not producing different people.
Yep.
How does it serve? I want to have a good life.
How does it serve?
I want to have a wife and kids. That's my future dream, for instance. And I want to have a good relationship, and one that's full of, joy and harmony. How does that conversation serve that goal? It doesn't.
Thank you. That's it right there. How does this serve? It serves no purpose other than to, piss you off or spin your wheels or get you fired up for no fucking reason. And so you nailed it right there. How does it serve? How does all this bullshit that most guys get caught up in, and women too, but how is this serving you?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Outrage bait is toxic.
Very, very toxic.
For sure. Yeah. So we don't do it, we just, we do something else. And so the guys that, that are attracted, my stuff is like, for years, I've been doing this for 20 years. And guys will look at my stuff, it's philosophical, and and so you get a lot of guys that say, I don't quite get it, and it's very, well, they want to get how to get laid in 3 easy moves, this weekend, which nothing wrong with that, because guys are lonely, and they would love to have that companionship and that physical touch. I'm 100% with them, I get it, but it's there's only a few people that really are attracted to the work I do, that say, because they want to have a more existential type of, metaphysical look at the world, I think, relationships, as opposed to here's what, men are from Mars and women are from, whatever it is,
It's guys that want to have a more existential existence. Is the way I'm hearing it anyway, and I'm with you, dude. You're to me, at least, you're preaching to the choir, because it's like, yep, that's what I seek, is that a more existential existence beyond
what I wrote,
the outrage.
What I wrote in my book is, when you're faced with the fork in the road, which we all are occasionally, whether it's career, whatever, you got two choices ahead of you: go left or you go right. My thesis is this: always take the path that will give you the best memories.
Absolutely.
Not financially sound, not what your parents recommend, not what your friends, and this is not the secure, whatever give you the best memories. Because when you're old, you're gonna look back and you'll have none of the stuff you had. You'll be old and laying back, and you'll go back and you think, at least I did that.
Yep.
At least I have that memory. There's nothing else.
You can't take the money with you, and there. I just was talking to a guy here not too long ago, that I said, the only regrets I have in my life of almost 50 years of being on this planet is 4 regrets, and they're all women. And it was because of either naivety at the time, or it was fear, indecision, stupidity.
Sure. Yeah.
It was never the jobs that I didn't take. It was never the money I passed up on. It was never even the locations that I went to visit. It's my best memories aren't about the
Yeah.
topography or the geography or the architecture. It was about who I was with when I went and did whatever it was I did.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
great.
it is. It's all about the memories. It really is, Zan. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, I know I was away for a second and I came in on the topic, but you talk about this in the Alabaster Girl too. It's designing your life
Yes.
and not letting life wash
Yeah.
over you.
Yeah, you know, like and trusting. You know, we're so, you have to trust that, you know, that if you are really considering, Aristotle said the only life worth living is one of contemplation. So if you're contemplating, in other words, you pause every day and thinking, who am I and what do I want? You know, 5 minutes a day, and just take that time to pause and reflect and look out a window. You know, then there's something that is built inside you, which is you become open. Your eyes and your ears become open to potential and possibilities, and now you're leading the charge of your life as opposed to reacting. I have all these emails to do, and I got to do this, I got to do that. You know, when did our life become a bunch of obligations rather than choices? Incredible, huh?
Yeah, that's
Incredible.
so true. Yeah,
and it's wrong. So to perspective it, to take a different look at it and have a different perspective, that I have choices ahead of me as opposed to I've got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. So, I mean, I'm speaking a big thing and very concise here, but I wrote it in my book, I think. Yeah, I did. So,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I wrote that book and I published it on my 50th birthday. I published it, and
shit.
I haven't cracked it since. It's funny because I did a YouTube series which is In Search of the Alabaster Girl, and we sit around a coffee table. It's 25
It's so
hours.
good. Yeah,
And I'm pretending to look at it. And the guys are saying, on page 14, you said, and I'm pretending, because it's like that was put away. And you know, not because I have any aversion to it. It's just that's done. And, you know, and if I open it, I want to change everything because I'm a perfectionist. I left that sentence like that. What?
That's funny. Now, are you working on anything new?
Well, by the way, I
to?
should say this. I recorded in the last year, I recorded the audiobook in my voice.
That was another question I had too. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So I had to go through it without changing anything. I had to because I'm thinking, what? That sentence should be there, and that word
That makes no sense. What?
It makes no sense. And so I had to bite my metaphorical tongue, and I read the whole thing through, and it was really difficult because it's like
You had to kill the editor in you.
yes. So, but I'm working on so that's coming out. It's in post production. We're working on it. That'll come out as the audiobook. And I'm not going to listen to it. Are you kidding me? There's not a chance in the world I'll listen to it
for you.
We'll listen to it. We'll let you know what we think.
I'll be so critical of it. But I'm working on a second book, and I'm not prolific. You know, I'm not a Stephen King guy or somebody that puts out 3 books a year. I maybe got 2 or 3 or 4 books in me. That's it till I'm 95. But that's okay, because I want to really contemplate and sit and consider things, as I put them down or as I'm trying to put them down. So I'm working on a second book, and it's very much it's a book about what we were talking about. So my first book was about men and women, the polarity thereof, or the lack of polarity thereof that we've lost. And my second book is about a life well lived. What is a mystical life? What is a treasure-seeking life, and how to have that, and how to have devotion in relationship, so that your wife or your woman just is really proud of who she. If your girl is not proud of you, that's my guy over there.
Yeah.
If she's
that's
not
what
proud,
you want.
you have a problem.
And if you're not proud of her, I tell you this, guys. If you want to have a relationship that is just sings, it's beautiful, and she just really adores you. If you are proud of her and you let her know, my little sweetie, I don't know what you do at work, but I really admire the ambition, what you're trying to do. If she feels that you're proud of her, and vice versa, those relationships, that's the ones, man. Yeah. So I'm writing about that, how to have this life of, the concept of art and the creative process. I'm fascinated, and motivation.
Yeah.
Why do we do this? rather than that. When I was a kid, I saw this preacher, and he was talking about end times are coming, you know, and he kept saying this: I have a real burden for young people, so they get this message. I have a real burden for young people. So I was like 13 or something. So they get this message that the time is near, and I have a real burden for young people. And he had this, you know, he was excited. That was when I was 13. A few years ago, somebody sent me a YouTube video of the same guy. It's like 45 years later or whatever, right? And he's an old guy. And I watched his YouTube video, and he said he's smiling, and he said, you know what? The time is near. The end times are near, and I have a real burden for young people. I have this real burden for young people. His message never changed, and his audience was like 30 people, just like it was back then. He never got big, never got well known. Nobody knows who he is, but he was consistent from that day to this. And I thought, what motivates a man to have that real desire motivation? Why? You know? So I went to find him. I said, I'm going to go find this guy. I went to him. I said, and I asked him, and I said, you know, I remember sitting down with him in his house. I said, you know, you said that when I was young, you said it now, and you never got discouraged. You never flagged. You never thought, well, nobody's listening. It doesn't work. You just kept going. And I said, how, you know, what made you, what motivated you? And he looked at me and goes, you know, well, I just have this real burden for young people. It's just incredible. And then he died the next year. He had cancer and he died. Incredible.
Oh, wow.
And you wonder, do you ever have that kind of dedication and that kind of real motivation? That's what fascinates. I'm writing a book about motivation. Why do we do this rather than that? You know?
Yeah, that creative process.
Just fascinates me.
Yeah, that always fascinated me as well. It's like I'll give Hemingway as an example. I love Hemingway's writing. I haven't read all of his works, but his life I could tell you about for hours.
Correct. There you go.
I wanted to know about the background stuff, what he did to do what he did, how he lived his life. He wrote the way he lived, and he lived the way he wrote. And I always admired that. So it's like Tesla, F. Scott Fitzgerald. I can talk for hours about these great men.
Yeah, and their life is almost more interesting than their creative work.
Yes.
Even Einstein.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Einstein was
everything.
Exactly. Einstein would pause in the middle of a lecture to talk about this really cool recipe for whatever that he had. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, there's that's people who feel like they're on fire. You can't look away from them if you're next to them, even though sometimes you may want to.
Yeah, you know, it's always been, you know, the concept. This is amazing. We're awash in self-help today, which is a new concept on earth. You know, and the number one books out there and the number one genre of everything is self-help. And you know, in my self-help since I was little, because I grew up in a pretty broken home, you know, and like, you know, anyway, but my self-help has always been literature and stories. You know, Casanova Casanova traveled across Europe. He didn't go from ATM to ATM like, oh, I backpacked across Europe. No, you didn't. You went to the bank machine there, and then you went to the bank machine there. You know,
exactly.
You had peace and safety the whole time, where Casanova had to go in a rickety sleigh in 14, you know, for 14 days in the snow to get to Moscow. You know, and he did it, and he didn't know what was going to happen there. Or these men would go to sea. You're 17 years old, and we say, well, you know, we're such self-help victims. I had a broken childhood, and my dad wasn't there, and I was abused, and I was abandoned. Every child in all of history, in every culture, had a broken childhood. Nobody had happy childhoods in any culture. But the difference is now we blame our modern day ills on, oh, my childhood, and we have to resolve our childhood. We have to go to therapy to resolve our childhood. The way they resolved their childhood in the past was they'd go to sea. That didn't work. I'm getting out of here. You know, my father beat the crap out of me, and you know, and so every child was abused and abandoned, and you know, and I'm not diminishing that, but the difference is they got on with it. They went out and they went and built countries and cities and buildings, and they got on with it. Yeah, where we say, I need therapy before I can be productive, before a woman can love me, and that's, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
we're all broken.
I need to start before I can start. And it's like, you don't need to get mired up in it and analyze it. And it's just go do something.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's kind of what I'm writing about, and that's the thesis of it. It's in the
Okay.
Alabaster Girl too, but and obviously I'm talking very abstract, and I don't. The Alabaster Girl came out of my years of experience. I can say for certain that 90% of the stuff I have in there I've never read anywhere, never seen it anywhere, like 90%.
Yeah.
Because it came out of just my standing and trying to figure it out, and my interaction with women, and women would say this, and I'd learn this. So it really came from my experience, where the second book is not coming from any experience, because I'm trying to write about the things that Plato wrote about. So who am I? If all the poets and all the historians and all the scientists and all the philosophers in history can't capture this mythical motivation, and why are we here? And like, who do I think I can? But I'll write around it anyway.
It sounds like I would say it sounds like a lot of fun to be on that path.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it, guys. It's all I think about day and night.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm not productive, so I do a lot more thinking than I do writing.
We were talking about that before the show, how lazy we all are. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's fun to just like kind of soak in the idea that eventually sometime you're going to get to this project. That's a great feeling. I'd rather hold on to that than actually get to the project.
It's just percolating. It's just percolating.
It's percolating. And sometimes, it's just, I read about Tolkien, that he writing the Lord of the Rings. And you think, that those stories, the Ring trilogy, was so, it had a beautiful beginning and middle, conflict, resolution, textbook, and then the ending. And we think that Tolkien wrote it Tolkien was completely lost the whole time he was writing it. In his diaries and his letters, he said, this sucks. And for 6 months he wrote himself into a corner, and he couldn't figure out how to proceed, and he wanted to burn the book and put it away. He hated it the whole time, and he had no clue what he was doing the whole time.
All his friends were like egging him on.
Yeah, like C.S. Lewis and stuff was saying, come on, they competed. That's why C.S. Lewis did all those books he did. They're competing, friendly competition.
Right.
But he never felt like there was a part where he made Sauron too powerful that he couldn't figure it out. He says, well, I have to come up with some mechanic. He invented the entire tree beard thing because he didn't know what else to do.
Okay.
And he wrote that in his notes. I didn't know what else to do, so screw it. I'm just going to do this tree beard thing.
Yeah,
out of whole cloth. And we think,
it works.
Wow. We think, what a genius! And he really put this. Nobody has it figured out, So the creative process.
He was muddling along and confused as everybody else.
Yeah, and surprised when it was done. I guess it's okay. Just like any of us,
right? Seriously. I want to talk a little bit about the Ars Amorata, because I myself, as we were talking, I'm an alumnus. And you're a creator of that. And I joined and went through the autumn class of 2016.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 5 years ago. Can you talk a little bit about this and how the creation of that? How did that come about?
I'll tell you very quickly. I used to have, way back in the day, back in the seduction community days, I had my company, my domain was enlightenedseduction.com, and it was like, to what is the enlightened version of seduction? And then there was this woman that interviewed me and for a piece, and she mentioned, Zan's influences are Casanova's memoirs and the Roman poet Ovid's the Ars Amatoria, but she misprinted it in the magazine as Ars Amorata. So it's fake Latin. So I absconded it. I took it as a registered trademark. So the real thing, Ovid wrote this 2,000 years ago. He basically wrote a book on how to get girls in Rome. 2,000 years ago, called the Ars Amatoria
in Rome.
Yeah. So exactly. So Ars Amatoria, is real Latin and means the book of the art of love. And so I stole from this interviewer, Ars Amorata. It means nothing. It's fake, but you kind of get what it means,
Yeah.
So that's how the origin of that name, Ars Amorata, and it's original. And so I had that. And then what we discovered over years, and like 15 years ago, we do a weekend intensive in Belgium or, Panama or somewhere. And the guys that would take that course, or take that weekend intensive, they would stay gathered together as friends and communicate with each other after we'd left the city and gone.
Mm.
And so what we accidentally got was a membership called the Amorati, which is also fake Latin, which we invented. It doesn't mean anything. But
it's cool.
We've had members, which, Vincent, you took the course, and when they graduate from our online course, they become members of the Amorati. We've had members for 15 years.
Yeah.
And in this tattoo, a guy just showed me the other day, this A, which you just
cool.
put it on the display there.
Yeah.
That A, which is the symbol. There's probably about 40 guys have it tattooed somewhere on their body. So there's a real, it's meant something to people. So
yeah. You also have a ring, do you not?
I do. I don't have it on.
Mm.
Yeah, I had a ring with the A on it.
Yeah.
We silver ring.
Yeah.
But the A is interesting because if you look at it, so people can see the screen here.
They can. Everybody watching can see this. Yeah.
So we did this. The graphic designer did this. A friend of mine, an Amorati member, back 15 years ago, did this A on a napkin. And I told him, what I envision in my mind is a sword that's straight and true and upright and straight, like a kind of a broadsword type thing. And it's standing up and down. And that represents men standing on the earth again, unapologetically. And then we have another sword that's kind of a scimitar. It's like, it's a curvy, sabery type thing. And it crosses over. And this is the sense of fun and adventure because it's, of men reclaiming that again, because it's got a bit of curve to it, but it crosses over and it becomes part of the psyche of men. And then the finishing of the A, that the crossing over thing, is a ribbon. And the ribbon is the feminine, to me, was the feminine essence that binds us together as men.
Ah, cool.
So there's lots of men's groups that are men being men, but if without the saving grace of the rebirthing energy of women, we're just a bunch of dudes. So that's the A, and he drew it up on a napkin, and we had the logo within a day. And that's, so yeah. Incredible.
Nice.
Going way back, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's fake. Ars Amorata, that's fake Latin.
Kind of a nonsensical Latin word, but it still has a lot of meaning.
Yeah, you could get what it means, right? You get the sense of it.
You can, yeah. It's like
it's kind of a tongue in cheek in a way. I love it.
Yeah, I like it.
Absolutely.
A lot of mischievous fun there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I enjoyed the course. I had a lot of fun, and I know that I was I guess the leader of the group was Jordan
back then. Yeah, he still is.
Okay, cool. And he broke us down into these cadres, as it were, based on our location. And we would meet once a week and have a Zoom meeting and talk over what we were doing. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Yeah, because our classes, scattered. We just started another one. We just started it last week.
Okay.
So we do it a couple times a year. So we kind of keep the class closed, and then they start as a band of brothers. And it's a 90-day online thing with a call.
Yeah.
A Zoom call every week with a theme. There's a theme every week. So the themes go from the stories we tell ourselves, in other words, our hesitation, our limiting beliefs, to the second month, which is all about our dance in the land of women. How do we show up with women? And then the third month is, what is it? What is our bliss and our passion and, that kind of stuff. And when they graduate, after all these 13 themes, 13 weeks, they graduate and they're members of the Amorati. And so and we do a conference twice a year. We've done it everywhere from Valencia to Copenhagen and it's cool. Fun. We'll have 70 guys show up and 100 women, and we have a party and we have speakers, and it's fun, and it's free for members. That's what we've been doing for a long time. So
okay, I need to look into this. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yes, absolutely. Cool.
Yeah.
What was my other thought? Jesus, it just keeps going out of my head. I have these great questions to ask, and then when I have a chance to ask them, there's like, no, they're gone. Fuck it.
I tend to ramble.
No. Rambling is good. That's we fly by the seat of our pants here. So, I think it was related to the Ars Amorata and the man's masculine edge. I know what I'm talking about. You mentioned in the book about a man's upper and lower energy, and really the need for that.
Yeah, that's such a powerful, guys. If you explain it like that, you can kind of get it, because the problem. So I'll just say it briefly. Mm-hmm. Us as men, have a center of gravity. You can say it's your sternum. I don't know. Somebody might say chakras. I don't know about that, but it's a center here. Where your voice comes from. The vibration from your sternum, and from that place, we represent ourselves and we show up in the world with an energy that moves up and outward into the world. This is a high energy. It's a giving energy. It's empathy. It's curiosity. It's jokes. It's fun. It's like camaraderie. Can I take your coat? It's a very high, charming energy. That's this is one energy of man goes forth into the world. So if you're in a job interview, for instance, you're sitting high, your eye contact is high. Everything's about this higher energy, and it's a beautiful energy. And then from the same center of gravity, our sternum, we have a counterbalancing equal energy that goes down and out, and it kind of floats on the floor like bass in a club. Boom, boom, boom. That's our dark forest. That is our mystical adventure spirit. That's our sense of danger. That's our boundaries. That's all these, that's our sexual energy that we want to bend the world over, that we love girls' asses. That's where that is. That's that energy. And the problem with modern man is we're either one or the other. You're either all up in your energy, and then you're the nice guy. Yeah, he's nice, but there's nothing in there that women can say, there's no sexual beauty in the man. And if you're all lower energy, you're the asshole. You're the jerk, because it's not counterbalanced. So the problem with modern man, for sure, is they're all upper energy. That's why when they say they get up the nerve to ask a girl out, hey, would you like to get a coffee sometime? She's, oh, it's so sweet of you, but I have a boyfriend. They flinch. They metaphorically fall over because they're top heavy with all this upper energy, the nice guy energy, and they flinch and they apologize. I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything. What? You asked a girl to go out for coffee with you, and she says, I have a boyfriend, and you're apologizing because you had a desire for. So it's this modern sensitive man who has no grounding. It's like a tree, a tree's got this foliage and this birds and this flowers and this perfume coming from it. And at the same time, you need deep roots that go down, and this is your driving force, your thrust. And we're so afraid of that sexual energy that we hide it. We hide our light under a bushel, and we pretend that we're not sexual, and it's wrong. So that's that in a nutshell. So you have both. You have the counterbalance. You're the integrated. That's what women want. It's the spirit of charm and curiosity. All these beautiful. And you know what's amazing about it? All the dating advice out there. Am I correct in saying this? I'll say it anyway, because I may not be correct, but I'll say it anyway. All the dating advice out there and all the stuff that's being taught is how to maximize and enhance that upper energy. Toastmasters, how to be more funny, how to be more engaging, how to be more charming, right? And so it's enhancing this nice guy energy. But there's no force of nature. There's no driving, thrusting. Men are meant to be thrust into the world. We're born to thrust, and we apologize for that all our lives. That's what it is.
No, that's so true.
I like that analogy about feeding them too much top heavy energy, because you could get these guys into a situation. I've done this. I'm not gonna throw stones in a glass house. I was down in Atlanta, getting ready to fly back from Dragon Con, because I went down to visit there, and there was this woman in the elevator, probably in her early 30s, and I didn't mind. I was 22 at the time, but I'm chatting with her, and so I'm like, oh, what floor are you going to? She's like, same floor, blah 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 blah. Talk about it. She's just cut off a relationship or something like that, and she's like, yeah, it kind of does suck, but it's what comes next that really matters. And she's like looking at me with hungry eyes.
You come next, James.
I was sitting there like there was a cougar about to pounce on me. I am terrified right now. I've charmed myself into a situation because I didn't have that lower energy. I was too top heavy, getting ready to. She pushed back and I toppled over.
Yeah, exactly. How many guys, they the next day think, man, I should have just. Why didn't I? And they're so being respectful that they forget that we're sexual creatures. Yeah, and we're apologizing. It's just incredible. No.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Is nature, like you said it, and I totally agree with this. Nature is taking care of the attraction for us. Yeah, like a man walks into a room, his head held high, he's looking around, he owns the room. His sexual energy comes before him. You have a room of 20 women. there's going to be probably around 4 or 5 that are going to turn around and be interested in you.
But there's going to be all of them that are going to notice you. And remember it.
Exactly. They're all going to notice you, but there's going to be 4
Four
or
might
5
be
that are
active.
just
Yeah, that's correct.
actively like I'm sexually attracted to this guy. And it's up to the guy to take advantage of that as far as like moving himself forward and getting in that energy.
Yeah.
But you also talk about a man running his mouth too much where he basically fucks that up.
Yeah, I really do think that. I think, I think we talk too much. We're trying to fill in dead air, like radio silence. You can't have it.
Yeah.
And you're trying to. It's just we just wheedle blah 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 blah. Yeah. And there's what we're missing, the spaces. Music. Chopin said that music it's not the notes, it's the spaces between the notes. And even Keith Richards said that. It's that pause, like it's well, I'm writing about this too. This is the idea that in musical things you've got the home notes. So you've got do re fi, all the way up to what is it, do re mi fa sol la ti, and you're waiting for the resolution. So there's a tension in there. There's a tension because you're waiting to go back home. It's Odysseus trying to go back to his home. So until we get that resolution, there's a tension. And the tension is what we're missing because we're always trying to fill it in with blah, 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 as opposed to letting some space that Chopin talked about and cadence between, if you say to a woman, hey, I saw you over there and thought I'd come talk to you. And what's your deal? Do you go to university around here and blah, 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 and we fill it in, right? As opposed to saying, I was over there with my friends and I saw you over here, statement, and I had to come say hi, statement, and I because there's something about you, this statement. And if you say, listen, hi, I'm Zan, and you can zip and leave that tension there, that electric tension. So she's got to step into the space a little bit. And instead we're motor mouthing, trying to be interesting and trying to be funny and trying to say I memorized this, or my opening line. It's, my opening line sometimes is just silence. Just look at a girl and say, and just sit in the energy of me smiling, looking at her. That's powerful.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I could go about that. I could talk about that for a week, guys.
No,
I can tell you lots of stories, believe me.
I'm sure. That's awesome.
Incredible.
There's a lot that is spoken between men and women, and there's no words.
Yeah. And the things I say, a lot of things I say is the opposite of what's being taught out there. It's the opposite. It really is.
Yeah.
Because you're being taught how to be more engaging, more. And I'm telling you, the more you can sit in in the silence, that is not a, I don't know what to say, silence. You could be nervous. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You could, but if you voice it, it. So if you're nervous and you walk up to a girl and you say, listen, I had to come say hi to you because I think you're really beautiful and I'm nervous and I don't know what to say. That's powerful. That's got wings, man. There's no neediness in that.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's plain speaking. So instead of asking questions, would you like to go for coffee, or can I go on a date with you, or are you free on Friday night? You make statements, and all you're doing is making statements about how you would like the world to be arranged around you. That's it. And no one can say that's not true. No one can take it away. No one can reject it. So if you walk up to a woman and say, you know what? I saw you as my friend over there and I had to come say hi. And I think you're a beauty and I would like to see you again. 4 statements of truth that no one can say. That's not true. No, I reject that. You can't be rejected. That's truth. I would like to see you again. I do think you're a pretty girl. No one, she can't say, she can't reject it. You cannot be rejected. You're just speaking your truth. And it's plain speaking, so you can't, it's just incredible.
That is powerful.
Yeah, because I spent
instead of cushioning her with all these questions about
exactly.
It's not a job interview.
Right. Plain speaking is incredible just to say it. And if you're nervous, you say that, just whatever's in the moment you're feeling, you just say it, and I had to come say hi to you, but I'm going to run out of things to say right now because I'm nervous. And I think you're, but it's like the king walking through his kingdom, and he sees a new girl he's never seen before. He stops his entourage. Wait. And he walks over and he says, wow, I've never seen you before, which is true, which is what you're saying when you go out and talk. I've never seen you before. I think you're a true beauty. Look at you. How come I've never seen you before? You know, you're saying these things and it's not, and you're complimenting, which you can't do in this modern age. Oh, you can't compliment girls but you're complimenting, and it comes from a place of landing as opposed to, can I get something in return? I've complimented you, so you like me, so you like me. It's just plain speaking. I'm going to speak what I believe to be true in this world. And I like nice things, and you look like a nice thing to me. Boom. Right? No one can take it away. And if there's no neediness, you can say the highest compliment to a woman. You could say to a woman, you know what? I'm going to say this to you. Sorry to disturb you, but I have to say this to you. You have beautiful eyes. And I know you've heard that all your life, because she has, but you've never heard it from me. I know you've heard that your whole life, but you've never heard it from me. That's a high, high compliment she's heard all her life. And it lands, and it's not needy at all. It's making statements. That's it. You're speaking truth. It's incredible, man. I can go on and on.
You are an artist.
Yeah.
There's something about that doesn't it's like that 2 weeks after Christmas where every opener is, I really wish you were under my tree. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know the movie Vicky Cristina Barcelona? Watch it, guys.
Yeah.
Where Javier Bardem walks up to the two girls, and they're like, and he goes, you know, I have to come with me on this weekend on a plane, and come with me to my villa and stay there for the weekend. And the one girl goes, what do you think? We're just going to come have sex with you? He goes, well, I kind of think that'd be nice. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
We'll have good food, drink good wine. We'll make love.
Who do you think you are? Well, I'm just saying it. And the other girl goes, really, this is interesting. It's plain speaking. And if guys would just say, you know, be truthful and say, you know what, there's something about you I like. I don't know what it is because I haven't met you yet. Plain speak. That's endearing. It's not needy. It's not. You'd be shocked. You just say, you know what, I would like to see you again. That phrase is beautiful. Guys are saying, how do you get the digits? How do you get her Instagram? How do you get Facebook? Here's the secret. I'll tell you guys. You don't ask for these things. You could say, can I get your phone? Or, you know, guys will pull out their phone. Well, just put your Facebook, Instagram, your number, and just type it in. And the girl's, all right. She doesn't really want to. And when you message her the next day, she's like, I was being nice to that guy. I don't really want him to message me, right? And you get all this, and they call women flaky, you know, because we forced our phone on her, right? So instead of asking for this contact information, this is how you do it. You basically make a statement. And the statement is, listen, it was nice talking to you. I would like to see you again. Zip. What's going to happen? You just say, I would like to see you again. That's truth. That's what I would like. She's going to say one of these things. She's going to say, oh, you know, it's very sweet of you, but I'm married. I can't. Or I have a boyfriend. Or it's not a good time for me right now. She's going to say one of these things. Or she's going to say, she's going to now offer contact information. I would like to see you again. She will say, oh, okay, well, take my phone number, or do you have Instagram? And if she offers you her contact information, she's interested, obviously, and she will never flake if you message her. Quote unquote flake. Bad word. So just, I would like to see you again. And then sit in tension. Beautiful.
Oh,
She has to break it now. It's like
the ball's in her court there. Yeah. I brought up that scene for if we want to watch it here.
Can we do it?
Yeah.
There's no audio, Vince. There we go.
There you go.
American?
I'm Christina, and this is my friend Vicky.
What color are your eyes?
They're blue.
I'd like to invite you both to come with me to Oviedo.
To come where?
To Oviedo. For the weekend. We leave in 1 hour.
What? Where is Oviedo?
A very short flight.
By plane?
Mm-hmm.
What's in Oviedo?
I go to see a sculpture that is very inspiring to me. Very beautiful sculpture. You'll love it.
Oh, right. You're asking us to fly to Oviedo and back.
No, we'll spend the weekend. I mean, I'll show you around the city, and we'll eat well. We'll drink good wine. We'll make love.
Yeah, who exactly is going to make love?
Hopefully the three of us.
Oh my
I'll get your
God.
bill.
Jesus, this guy, he doesn't beat around the bush. Look, senor, maybe in a different life.
Why not? Life is short, life is dull, life is full of pain, and this is a chance for something special.
Right. Well, who exactly are you?
I am Juan Antonio, and you are Vicky, and you are Christina, right? Or is it the other way around?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
right.
it could be the other way around because frankly, it doesn't matter because either of us will do to keep the bed warm. You know, I get it.
Well, you're both so lovely and beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, but we do not fly off to make love with whoever invites us to charming little Spanish towns.
Does she always analyze every inspiration until each grain of charm is, ¿cómo se dice, squeezed out of it?
I guess I have to say that my eyes are green, actually.
Oh God, look, I wouldn't call our reluctance to leap at your sexual offer being over analytical. If you would care to join us for some recognized form of social interaction like a drink, then we'd be fine. But otherwise, I think you should try, offering to some other table.
What offended you about the offer? Surely not that I find you both beautiful and desirable.
Offended me? No, it's very amusing, galling to be honest. But is it my imagination or is it getting a little late?
I
Should we
would
go?
love to go to Oviedo.
What are you kidding? Can
I
we
think it would
discuss
be
this?
so much fun. I think we should go. I would love to go.
Christina, can we discuss this some other time when
You know, when I saw you across the room at the art gallery, I noticed you have beautiful lips. Very full, very sensual.
Thank you.
Okay, look, if you want to
Well,
go.
I can't guarantee the love making because I happen to be very moody.
Let's not negotiate like a contract. I came over here with no subterfuge and presented my best offer. Now I hope you will discuss it and give me the pleasure to take you with me to Oviedo. I have the good fortune to borrow my friend's plane. It's just big enough for the three of us, and I'm a very good pilot.
Oh, it sounds very safe.
Think it over.
That's great.
Boom.
You know, plain speaking, man. I really, really believe in it. Just say it,
Oh yeah,
You're an adult. I'm an adult. Let's go do adult stuff.
you're a man. I'm a woman. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's my best offer. I like that.
It is.
It's
It's
my best
great
offer. I
offer.
like. Beautiful, guys.
It is a good movie. You guys check it out. So good.
Yeah.
Oh, so how we doing on time? We're an hour and 13 minutes. We good?
My head's still spinning from that scene.
I know, right?
Right?
Yeah.
And I won't spoil the movie, but watch what happens when
Oh, yeah.
the next scene and thereafter. Go watch it. It's great.
Well, and I won't spoil the movie either, but James, life imitates art.
Yes, it does.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing.
totally a
Rob is
good
hinting
thing.
at right
Yeah,
now.
it's not bad.
Or
It's not
bad.
bad.
I'm just telling you, life imitates art.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'll keep that in mind for my next convention.
yeah, that
Yeah.
when you're going, oh well, that's just a movie. It's like, but is it?
Yeah.
That shit happens in real life. Rob and I are proof of that.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So
And Zan too. I mean,
yeah.
it happens. It's what you do when you start designing your own life and like you said, speaking your truth. Then
Yeah, because no one can say that that's not true.
Mhm.
If you say I like you or I think you're beautiful, and I would like to see you again, no, you can't be rejected. No one can say that's not true. She can't say to you, "No, I reject that." Huh?
I like that. I like that you keep going back to that. She can't say that's not true because if you say I would like to take you out for coffee, maybe that is something
Well,
not
if you-
true. Like
if you
where
say-
she's like,
Yeah.
there's an ulterior motive there. But if you just say like,
Because if you're asking the question, if you form it as a question, and I really do believe that men should form these interactions with women as statements because it's just truth. If you say, would you like to get together sometime? Would you like to go for coffee sometime? She can say,
no.
no, I'm not interested. Okay. Now we feel that twinge of I wasn't good enough, interesting enough, tall enough, or whatever it is, right? We think we're not good enough. If you just say, I would like to see you, I would like to have coffee with you. That's a statement. You know, she might say, well, I can't because blah, blah, blah. But at least you spoke your truth. At least you just said what you want. And of course, it would happen to me too. I could walk up to a woman and say, hey, you know what? I think you're beautiful. I would like to have coffee with you, or I would like to see you again. And she would say to me too, I can't. I'm married. I have a boyfriend. I'm not interested. But it doesn't stop the fact that I showed up. You know, Woody Allen, who did this movie, said that 80% of life is just showing up.
Absolutely.
That's what we're not doing. Men are not showing up.
She
They're
cannot
wishing.
negate the truth, is what it is.
That's
She
right.
can reject your offer, but she's not rejecting you.
Correct.
One of the things that I always have said to
That's right.
women, at least in probably the last decade, is whenever I get into an interaction, I'll say something along the lines of, I'm the invitation. I'm extending my hand. Would you care to dance? Basically, you know, I'm
Correct.
offering you a chance to dance the life, you know, the dance of life. Now you can either accept it or not. And they almost always bite.
Well,
Because
and if they can't, they're thinking about it.
Absolutely.
That's the key.
And it's not a rejection of me.
right.
It's just, I'm not interested in your offer. I'm too busy.
Correct.
I'm a husband, boyfriend, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. All I'm doing is offering her an invitation. Would you care to dance in this thing of life with me? That's
right.
it.
It's great, man.
That's it.
I like that. Turning down
I
the
learned this over
invitation.
years.
What's that, James?
I said that I like that, like turning down the invitation and not you.
Well, because that's what it is. She, you know, if you really want to get analytical and up in your head, up into that upper energy that guys like to hang out in, and what we've been taught is proper and right, she doesn't know you. You just met her. You're either 30 seconds in or maybe a couple of minutes at most. She doesn't know anything about you. So she doesn't know you from Vince, from Zan, from me. She knows nothing about you. All she knows is what you're offering, and that's either what she accepts or doesn't accept. And so it's not personal when she says no. And she may have, in fact, a legitimate, valid reason. Oh, I am married. I have a boyfriend. I like black guys, whatever it is. Okay. But it's not about you.
She could just be having a fucking bad day and you're not.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be involved with you. But yeah, exactly.
You were the wrong guy at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And so it's not you, it's your invitation. It's your proposal that she's rejecting. It's not you. So you don't have to beat yourself up and go, oh, I'm not tall enough, or I'm not buff enough, or I'm too young, or I'm too old, or whatever it is that you come up with. It's just your invitation that she's not accepting. It's not you. And so
it happened to anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. It can happen to anyone.
And often does.
Seeing out where you're just like, she's just rejecting my invitation. It's no harm, no foul. I don't need to feel bad about it. It's just an offer and she doesn't want it. That's fine. Someone else will. And so you move on. You go and you offer that invitation to someone else. And over enough time, somebody's going to take your hand and go do that dance of life.
Yeah,
correct.
They always do.
Yeah, as long as you don't get discouraged and you just, realize that we're all broken, everybody's insecure in their head.
Oh,
just keep going.
Yeah, that's true. Zan, I know this has been something that's said to young men for time immemorial. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Because we like, all right, who is that exactly? I was like, what? That's just like the dumbest shit. So
What's weird is like a lot of these self-help platitudes, like just be yourself or be unattached to the outcome. They sound great. They look good on your Facebook wall, but man, how do you do it? How can you be unattached to the outcome when you're horny and lonely?
How can you be unattached to the outcome and be human? Okay.
Yeah, I want something.
Recently been going through that as part of my own little journey with a particular woman that I became unattached to the outcome. And literally, I did not like what I saw in myself, because now it goes from a human interaction, from a man and woman interaction, to me literally playing clinical psychologist, scientist, checking off boxes and just saying, oh, I said A and B happened.
Right.
I don't feel any way about it. You know, it's complete
It's an
indifference.
algorithm. It's an algorithm.
It is, and I hate
Yeah.
that. It's
You go
like
from
I
A to
don't
B.
want to be detached. I don't want to be a machine. You know, I because man, the depths of depravity I could go down and explore, that suffering rabbit hole could go bottomless for all I know. But at the end, I don't feel anything either way. And it's like, I don't want that. I want that connection to the humanity. I want to humanize her. I want to humanize myself again. And so I had to figure out how to do that. And I did. And it took someone else reminding me of some shit that I had said, that they were like, what about this? Oh, yeah, there's that. Okay, cool.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
yeah, you can't be unattached to outcome. It's a nice, like you said, it's nice in theory. It looks good
Yeah.
as a statement that you post on your fucking mirror or on your Facebook wall or whatever. But the reality is, do you really want to go there, guys? Do you really want to be a machine?
Yeah.
Because that sucks.
No, desire, the difference is this. Desire is incredible. Neediness is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a big difference. To desire, you know, I really do think that the number one thing that is attractive to women, sexually and in general, is true desire. To
Yes.
really to feel that she's really seen and really desired is intoxicating to women, right? But neediness is just a wet blanket, and it's
Oh yeah, that's repulsive. Yeah.
yeah. And we say, well, what's the difference? Well, true desire is true desire is speaking what you want. You would like to meet a girl just like her. I would like this. I would like that. But if I don't, like you said it very well, if my offer is rejected, then I'm not going to beat myself up. You know, the analogy I use is like a cheetah. You know, the cheetah is like, you know, sneaking through the Serengeti grass. He's like inching. The antelope are out there in the clearing, and he's like inching for 6 hours. He's going like this on his belly, a millimeter at a time. He gets there, and right at the moment when if he inches one more millimeter, he'll be discovered. He springs at the exact same moment. The antelope, and he zeroes in on this one he's been looking at for 6 hours. And the antelope zigging and zagging, and this full speed, 70 miles an hour, and going like this, and it's a chase, and this National Geographic camera's trying to follow it. And he gets there, and he's just about to swipe in slow motion at the ass of the antelope, and he goes like this, and the antelope zigs out of the way and is gone, and the cheetah falls over in the pile of dust like this, you know, and he sits up, and the antelope's gone, and the moment's lost. And what does the cheetah do? He sits there, looks around, he licks his balls, and then he wanders off.
Goes on to the next one.
He doesn't think, "Oh, I suck. I knew it. I'm useless. I suck."
Yeah, he doesn't go and cry himself into a corner and wish he was dead. He just sets up the next fucking hunt.
He doesn't blame himself. At least I tried.
Yeah.
At least I went out there. At least I put my offer there.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's it.
It does come back to a lot of the primitive brainstem animalistic portion of our brains. For sure.
There you go.
Cool. One thing too I wanted to talk about is your path towards beauty.
Mm-hmm.
That also fascinates me as well, and beauty in all things, not just women, but is everything around us. And I know you've done before he passed, you were doing some work with Roger Scruton, were you not?
Yeah. Well, I went and sat at his feet, you know, before he died. He was, to me, is like he did, you know, the BBC documentary Why Beauty Matters, and he wrote on beauty, which we've forgotten. Yeah. This is why, you know, architecture, art, politics, everything is kind of really, you know, it's all shock now because we've turned our face from beauty, and beauty is, you know, is not utilitarian, so we turn our face with it. And my insane thesis, which I have no backing for at all, but I really do believe it's true, is that beauty is a real component strata, like I'm a networking guy, like, and so, there's the user layer, the abstract layer, the application layer, all these different layers, right? In the network stack.
Yeah.
And I think that no matter what the origin of the universe, whether it was created by design or Big Bang or whatever, beauty has been a real physical layer, physics layer, that's in that strata since the beginning of time till now.
Interesting.
And
The OSI model
yeah.
of beauty.
And I think like dark energy is beauty. And that's why we tap into beauty if we have a transcendent experience. When you see a sunset and it makes you pause and you get goosebumps, you get that moment of frisson, or you see the face of your beloved and you feel connected to something that is beyond. Science can't explain any of that. They say, well, eventually we'll figure out the chemicals that are involved there, but they can't describe, what's happening with goosebumps and why the evolutionary reason, because you're connecting to something. This is my thesis that I'm trying to understand, to something beyond our experience. And so I really do believe that beauty is, and the Greeks used to think that, beauty, truth, goodness were three fundamental building blocks of the universe. And I think it's true. I think beauty is real and not just an abstract concept. I think it's real. And I think, we've lost it. You look at art, I'm writing about this kind of stuff too. Art in all of history was about the depiction of something, of religious paintings or whatever, and icons and stuff like that. And then it went into landscapes. Here's the sheep on the fields and all this kind of stuff, and that moment there. And then it was portraits. And here's a woman sitting with holding her cello or whatever. And so we had all these different depictions of art. And now the art is all about the artist. Look at me. Look at I'm this famous artist. It doesn't matter what I'm producing. It's just that my name is stuck to it, So the art is now just like the rest of our society. It's look at me. It's reality TV. The artist is the important thing, right? The self-help industry. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
I'm the expert. Yeah. I've got 5 other books and you need to read all of them before you buy this one.
Right. So you see some of the modern art and it's like, Tracy Emin's unmade bed is sitting in the Tate Museum, sold for $2 million, 2 million euros or something.
Or
right?
a banana duct taped to the wall.
Exactly. Because that's saying, look at me, as opposed to, look into the art and be transfixed. And so what we've lost is that contemplation. So good art or a sunset or the face of your beloved, it dawns on you. It has beauty has a quality of dawning on you. It rises something in you, and it makes you think that you're part of something else. So, and we don't have that enough. And so I really do think that, I have to. I'm struggling to figure this out, but I will. Well, I won't figure it out because nobody in history could figure it out. All the artists and poets
try like hell to figure it out.
But it's probably just the journey to get there. Even if you don't, is still worth getting to the end.
Yeah. Journey is worthwhile.
And you know what? And physics. Like I really do believe that physics is when you see a woman across the way and you really are attracted to her and you really like her energy, and she looks over and she catches your eye and she smiles. We've known these moments, or you get that feeling. That is quantum entanglement. That cannot be broken. You can turn around, you can walk around the bar, and that is not broken. And I really believe this, guys. This is
interesting.
For sure.
I agree. Cool. The terminology for me that I've encountered, and mine's going to be a bit more crude than how beautifully you put it, Zan. But I've had that same experience a handful of times where, in my term, in Rob's parlance, in my language, I see a woman, we make eye contact, there is a connection there, and I know on some level, whether it happens soon, as in maybe immediately, or it might be down the road, but I know I'm going to have sex with that woman.
Right. And you know what? You may not. But that tanglement, but that potential, because of circumstances and logistics get in the way. Because you have this connection, but because there's boyfriends or air flight, she's going to take
a couple
a
years
plane the next day.
Road, it still happens.
Exactly.
I've had that.
The point is that entanglement. Yeah, of course. You can't break it.
No,
it's not possible to break it.
That's magic.
And that is that whole. I found this woman. I'm going to have her. I'm going to enjoy her physically, emotionally, mentally, the whole 9 yards. It may happen in 24 hours or less. It might take 2, 3, 5 years, it will happen. And every time it's happened for me, which is not often, but whenever it does, whenever that, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a knowing almost that it's like, oh, this is going to happen. And it does every single time.
Yeah.
It's happened every single time. So I get what you're saying about the quantum entanglement and the way you put it. It's like, I like it because it's almost, not to be too woo woo, but it is almost like destiny. It's like
magic.
It's gonna happen.
Zan, is that
unifying theory?
Theory, quantum entanglement. Is that an official word or something you came up with?
What?
Quantum entanglement. I'm curious.
No, that's a quantum entanglement. That's a very real thing. It's like it's like the state of one molecule over here, or a photon, for instance, is changed simultaneously because is entanglement. And look it up. It's interesting.
Okay.
And I really, it's 120 years since we started to really go down this physics path that threw Newton and Copernicus and the surety out the window of the universe is like logical and stuff like that. And now it's uncertain and there's probabilities and this kind of stuff. And I really do think that we're on the edge of understanding something relative to the creative spark, relationships, the way of a man with a maid, as the Bible says, and it's caught up in physics. And I don't understand a word of it, but I really do believe that beauty is a unifying field that is a real thing. It's a real thing, just like the electromagnetic field is real. That's me. I've never heard anybody say that. And all the scientists out there and all the physicists and all the molecular biologists, what an idiot. That's okay. And I'm spending the rest of my life trying to understand that. And
I like it. I like it.
That's my delusion.
As far as delusions go, it's up there. I like it.
That's a useful delusion if it's in fact a delusion. That is going back to the whole, how does this serve me? What do I want? What am I getting from this? Whether delusional or not, that is a useful delusion, if we're going to call it that. That is fucking useful.
Yeah, what a cool life to be sitting and thinking about those things,
Yes.
Yeah.
And hanging around with people who are talking about those things.
Yes.
That's cool.
That's why we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Cool.
Yeah, we should tackle art a couple of times on Masculine Geek.
We should do what?
We should tackle art a couple of times on Masculine Geek.
No, we absolutely can.
Do
some of the fireside chats.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it.
Awesome.
Definitely worthwhile topic to discuss. You definitely dive deep on that for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we do that. Jordan and I do the Zan and Jordan show. We have a podcast. We've done 7 or 8 episodes only because we're like we said, but it's talking about this, talking about there's nothing new under the sun, and the Greeks thought about the same things that we're talking about, and really trying to talk about art and that artistic merit and that artistic expression and eras. Like you better believe it. This Corona thing, we're on the edge of some kind of new ism.
Like the fourth turning or something?
Fourth turning, fifth turning. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I do believe that we're witnessing the birth of a new era, and it could be the age of something, like the age of enlightenment. It's the age of something that we're seeing born right now. I'm convinced of it, and we're watching it as it's being born. We won't name it till years later, obviously.
Yeah.
But art, architecture, science, physics, gaming, everything is going to. Just like everything, match the Art Deco period. All the art and all the architecture and all the, writing and everything was all experimental, abstract, cubism. We're going into some other ism or some age of something that everything is going to. It's all going to be aligned, and I don't know what it is, but we're definitely witnessing something. And it might be the end of enlightenment. Maybe the enlightenment is ending now. I don't know, but something's ending, something's beginning, and coronavirus put the stamp on it. 120 years ago, at the same time period, in 1900 to 1920, the world, Einstein came out with his theories that just disrupted everything that we've ever thought about mathematics, science, and everything. Kandinsky and Braque and all these, and Picasso were like deconstructing, art. And it was really and World War II and the Spanish flu that killed a big chunk of Europe, you know, and everybody had to wear masks. You know, we think we're so special because it has happened to us. It happened before, you know? So all that happened in that 20-year period, just like this 20-year period. I really do think that I think an Einstein's going to arrive on the scene that's going to shock us or something.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's totally, and that's why I've always enjoyed reading ancient philosophy. I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's some old guys that said some stuff back in the day, and let's go back in the time machine and kill them. I've always enjoyed philosophy, not so much. I read it for that aha moment. I know I know they're saying the same things that we're saying now, but that was back then. They had no time machine to look into the future. So here we are now, reading the stuff from the past that's similar to what's happening now. But these were men struggling with the same problems that we're struggling with now. And for myself, I read philosophy to get that little bit of aha moment from something that happened before that maybe I'm not aware of, or I something I can reconnect with, and for lack of a better description, to feel comfortable with myself in the here and now.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
To come to terms with our existence on Earth, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because it's when you get right down to it, it's something that Juan Antonio just said in that clip that we played. Life is dull, boring, and full of pain. And this is
why not?
Yeah, why not? This is a chance for something special. Why the fuck not?
Why not?
You get one go around at this life. You can believe in the afterlife if you want, but that's way out there for you.
That's so cool.
You're here now,
cool, guys.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Very cool. I'm enjoying this conversation.
This is fun. This is very fun. How are you on time? You good?
Let's see.
Maybe another 20 minutes?
15.
15, there you go. I don't want to keep you up too late. Because that's late where you're at, yeah.
No, I've just got to meet somebody. There's a friend of mine from Canada in town.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Via Ukraine. So.
Oh, nice. No,
it's late, but we're going to meet. So he's waiting.
Well, in where you're at, I mean, late has no real meaning as far as like American late.
No.
There's things are open late where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, they are starting to open in here in Romania now, a bit better. Things were closing at midnight before, which is now past now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's
getting close to it.
Yeah, getting close to it.
Okay. Do you miss Canada at all, or you just like you don't care?
You know, I love Canada, and I grew up in the wilderness of Canada. That's a really good question. That's a good question. You know, like I've been such a nomad since I was a little boy. Left home, you know, I went and worked for a trapper in my teenage years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'm a wilderness guy, man. Like I grew up without electricity, running water. I had moccasins on my feet. I had a rifle. I had a knife on my side in a scabbard that I made, in a sheath that I made. You know.
Oh wow.
I sewed the leather together. I had all that stuff, and I know how to survive in the wilderness. I know how to catch fish with my hands, how to make a fire out of nothing, and because I grew up in that, you know.
Yeah.
And so there's something about the wilderness and the forest of the north that calls me, but I don't know. I wasn't a city kid, so that's a good question. Do I miss Canada? I miss my family. I don't know, man.
Probably more to the point is you miss the people.
My family.
Your family there, yeah. Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like the old thought experiment, when you die, where would you like to be buried? I can't answer that question. Or where do you scatter my ashes? No clue. I haven't come to that. I don't, you know, the other thing I'm writing about, of course, this is all in my next book. That's why it's taken so long. Is this idea of what Scruton talked about, which is the idea of the desire for home. What is we want to come to the home note. We want to go home. You know, Odysseus, you know, the Odyssey is about a man's search for home. He's just trying to go home. That's it. You know, we're trying to find that that's a metaphor for all of our journeys in life. We're trying to find our home place where we belong. We want to belong. We want people to be included. You know, we want to be included. And so that search for home. Yeah, I'm such a nomad that I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Home really is where you hang your hat then.
Yeah, or the old saying, the old guy told me, home is where you hang your head.
Shit. That's funny. All right.
But it's
Now-
a search for home, you know.
Okay. Now
So, yeah.
you do have a nomadic lifestyle. You've traveled everywhere. Have you found like sort of a pseudo home base?
Yeah, because I traveled for years. One pair of shoes, carry-on bag. My other parallel story and my Batman story is I went to the corporate world without no education.
Ah,
I did some fast talking or something, and I worked my way up in the corporate world. I'm a computer programmer. I'm an
Okay.
SQL guy. I'm the best I know at stored procedures and databases, and I love it and I miss it. Yeah. And I'm a
Right.
programmer. I used to program my own websites.
I'm a
with
network guy.
CSS.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
And
cool.
I used to be a Novell netware engineer.
Yes. Oh yeah. Same here.
That's back in the day, man.
Yeah.
That's all, keyboard stuff.
Mhm.
And so I'm a programmer and all that, and I miss it. Believe me, I miss it. I love it. I like that kind of thing. And so I worked my way up in the corporate world. I was the head of the computer department, and I was the head of the securities department. And I walked away from all that to a carry-on bag and one pair of shoes, and just and walked away from the corporate world, which is a whole new story and a new thing. The guys are trying to like, can you do that? And so I wandered and hit the road, and I was living for a month here, 2 months there, 3 months there for 10 years. And I ended up in Romania. Like, who goes to Romania? Nobody. It's unsung. Romania is just, to me, it's just, I mean, the Romanian government should give me some kind of a commemorative plaque or something, because I brought a lot of economy. There's been a lot. There's been 5 or 6 guys that came here to visit me who married Romanian women. So there's a lot of guys that come to this country because of me, and because I believe in it. And so I've been here for the last 10 years, off and on traveling, and I've been with my girl now for 9 years. My beauty, 9 years. We just had our anniversary. My sweetie.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so I'm still nomadic. I feel it. Like, I have a small apartment, and I could, you leave your guitar and stuff behind. You can always buy it again, right? So I could be out of here within a half an hour, an hour. I still don't have possessions like I used to have in Canada.
Yeah.
So
you're a gypsy at heart.
I'm a vagabond at heart for sure. Yeah.
Mm.
Because there's a couple Amorati guys that came here that are in town right now, and one of them said, let's go to the Black Sea. Let's go to the seaside. Yeah, let's do it. Without having to check with somebody or to arrange something, I go to the Black Sea for 3 days, which is the beach, and I cannot imagine because I was the corporate life, going to work and sitting in boardrooms and stuff and on the clock. And I can't imagine doing anything less than that now, to be able to, if you come to town, say, listen, I'm in town. Would you like to? Of course I would. I don't have to explain that to anybody, check with anybody, adjust things. I just, what? You're my friend. I'm coming with you. Let's go. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah. That's why, we call it lazy, but we're not really lazy. We're just relaxed. We're retired.
You're decisively relaxed. Yes.
Yeah. if I, like, Ars Amorata is well known, and sometimes I get recognized if I'm in Miami or something like that. It's well known, and I've never really made it into an enterprise, and I could have, and all those dating companies got really big, but I just don't have that in my body. I've done the boardroom thing. I've sat, let's go. Come on, how come you're not producing? And you have to be in Australia and do all these boot camps and workshops, and come on, let's go. And I just, there's something in me that it wants to contemplate and hang out with my girl and have a glass of wine, play the guitar, and think. So because of that, we're small, but it's great. We do what we want.
I think that's very important, is that ability to do what you want and not be overly obligated to like all the corporate stuff that you're talking about.
No.
Yeah. Fuck.
No way. I did that for years.
Yeah, that's too stressful. That's way too stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not knocking that. If somebody's ambition is to run a major company and become an entrepreneur, but it wasn't my spirit. I wrote in the book that you were motivated by the 3 F's in life. Fortune, freedom. Damn, what was the other one? It's in my book.
And females.
You get my point. Look it up in my book.
Go read the book.
Sorry, guys. It's like past midnight here, and I've been talking for days. I've been doing like calls with guys for days, man.
Oh,
My
shit.
voice
Yeah,
is
yeah,
shot. Yeah, yeah.
No, we totally appreciate it. This has been an absolutely fun discussion, but we're gonna wrap up right now.
Oh,
So
fortune, I got it. Sorry. Fortune, freedom, or fame.
and
That's our three
fame.
motivators.
Okay.
So if you're motivated by fortune, you might start companies and be that guy. It's your motivation. That's beautiful. You found your alignment. You might be motivated by fame. You want people to notice you, and But for me, freedom trumps all. I will sacrifice all fame, all fortune for freedom. To be able to hang out with you guys if you come to town. Yes, I'm going to because I can, and I'd rather do that than anything else.
Yeah. Absolutely agree. And I'm coming to Bucharest. We're going to play Blood Red Skies.
Oh, bring it.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like it.
Totally. All right. So before we sign off, if someone wants to talk with you or get in touch with you or learn more, I mean, other than the Alabaster Girl, which I suggest every man and woman, any women watching this, get this book. Read this book. You will not be disappointed. Trust me.
Yeah, you can get the book at alabastergirl.com. I have 2,000 or 3,000 books printed here in Romania, and you can get it on Amazon if you want, the Kindle version and the audiobook's coming. But if you want a signed copy, if you want one, you send me your address and I'll send it to you.
I totally want a signed copy. Absolutely.
Go to alabastergirl.com and I give these books away for free. It's $10. It's $9.99. Covers the packaging and the cost of the book that I had to print and the postage and everything. But so I basically lose like $1 a book, I think, is what we did the math on. But I give them away.
Yeah. That's not bad.
But I don't mind, So I sign it and send it out to you. So if you want a signed copy, anybody listening can just send me, go to the alabastergirl.com and you can get a signed copy and you'll get it within a couple weeks.
Okay.
Or so.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And
so they can find me there in arsamorata.com.
All right.
Which I think they've seen it. Zanperrion.com. I'm pretty easy to find, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Easy to find. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, everyone. Everyone who's been listening and hanging out in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone who's going to be listening later, thank you so much for joining us here on Masculine Geek, our Saturday Rogue broadcast with our special guest, Zan Perrion. This has been a fantastic discussion. So thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us.
You know what? Thank you guys. I really enjoyed this, and you're my kind of people. I want to hang out with you guys.
Yes,
seriously.
Yeah. If you have no qualms about coming back on, we'd love to have you back on for round two. Yeah.
Yeah. No problem.
Cool. Excellent.
Remember,
all right, everyone.
I'm not doing much.
Hey, this is just the whole, invitation thing,
Exactly.
Do the dance of life or no?
Exactly.
Yep.
What I wrote in the book is my philosophy in life is to accept all invitations if possible.
Love
If
it.
you do that, you accept all invitations if possible, your life will change.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I've been putting that into practice for the past couple of years, and it serves me well. Yeah.
All right,
so
guys.
true. All right, everyone. Rob, do you want to take us out?
Meow. See.